Welcome to Kamisha Reviews. I know I started a little bit early today, but it doesn't matter. We are going to get started in this exclusive interview with Eric from Ready to Love Potomac. And one of the things I'll say, and I said this on every live, especially when I have a guest on my panel or whatever, you know, please be respectful in the chat. Understand that I pay a lot of attention to my guests. I give them my undivided attention. I might glance at the chat, but my moderators normally take care of that. And also, too, his links. I know that stuff is in the description. My moderator probably will drop the links in the comments. So please, this is a exclusive interview, and I'm going to him up. Okay, in just a second. Welcome.
Hey, hey,
Welcome. How are you, sir?
I am blessed and highly flavored.
Yes.
I'm doing quite well.
First of all, thank you
Got my
again
drink
for.
too.
Oh yeah, everybody knows me. It's the red cup for me. Uh, thank you for coming on here, and this is an exclusive interview that I'm actually, I'm humble and I'm honored that you decided to come on my platform to talk about everything. Have your first interview, even, and so I
Oh,
want
yeah.
to say I really appreciate you coming on here, first of all. So everybody coming to the chat, make sure hit that like button and subscribe. That's super important. Hit that like button and subscribe as you come in, please. Okay. Um, Mr. Eric is from Ready to Love Potomac. And he came in super hot, and I mean super hot because he's hot. And he came in, and the women in the chat and other people were just going crazy over him, and some still do. But a lot of things happened while Eric was there that caused him to not be on the show anymore. But before we get into that, I really want to ask and start out by saying reality TV, why would you take that route to dating? What put you in that position?
Well, so I was kind of dating, but not much. But I was traveling a lot because of my job, so I'm
Mm,
always in and out of town. And then I just made a pivot of what I want to do. I want to go ahead and settle down, get other things popping that's in my business scope. So I want more time to actually get into a relationship and find love because it wasn't working with these apps because I was on like Tinder and all that shit, but
right,
it wasn't working. So I was like, you know what? I've seen the show before, not a lot of it, but I was
right.
like, you know what? Let me go ahead and give it a chance and see what can come of it because I tried other avenues. And it's kind of risky with my job because I'm in and out of town all the time and a lot. So hopefully I was going to find someone that was going to be compatible and be able to work with that, dating somebody that's in the industry. So I was like, you know what? I'll definitely give it a shot and see what can come out of it.
Okay, well, I was going to ask you, did you watch the other seasons? And you pretty much told me the answer that you didn't really watch much of it. Was there a season that you watched completely all the way through?
I think it was the season before Ready to Love DC.
Okay.
So that's the season that I watched almost in its entirety. I think I didn't see like the last two or three episodes,
Hmm.
but I just got the premise of what the show was about. And I felt like it was really about people trying to find love. So I was like, oh, this is like a good uplifting Black people show. So that's why I went ahead and dove in into the journey.
Now, speaking of the journey, now allegedly they vet them, and there's different stories about how they find a gentleman for the Ready to Love. Did they find you through Instagram? That is one of the ones.
Um, Actually, it was one of a casting that found me, the Ready to Love, and they
Mhm.
asked me if I would do it, and I went through the process. So I was like, yeah, because I've seen it before, but I've never really submitted for it. But I was reached out for the show.
Okay. Wow. Because there's been so many different things. Not about you, just as the show as a whole. And I'm not saying like bad, but that their vetting process is bad, or that they only find actors. And this is just with the converted to the fans. They go really hard, and the bloggers, but the fans go super super hard. So I mean, they come at me too. Trust. And so I know you had to know about the fans before you got on the show, or did you not know?
I did not know.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
you
because
never watched it,
I hardly watch TV. The main thing that I usually watch is like Food Network or ACTV or some survival show because I do all that stuff. I do
right?
survival things. I go like every 6 months or so. I'll go off and live off the land and hunt and fish and shit like that. And then, of course, I'm a chef, so I cook. And then I do construction. I do a lot of shit. But I
Right.
never really knew about the fans. Now I know how diehard some of these fans are. That's
Yes.
quite apparent now.
Super, super. Okay, so now, yeah, because they do go crazy. I'm telling you. I know about and every time I hear about the mixer, I hear different things. But to me, to sum it up, I always hear stuff about where maybe you don't get to eat a whole lot, but you drink a lot of liquor. And I always say that's a recipe for disaster. Um, is your experience similar to that, or is that just a few people who experience that as far as the mixer? This is every year, not just one season.
Yeah, you have a choice, right? So you can choose to indulge in the liquor or not.
Hmm.
But liquor is readily available, even if it's mainly through the other castmates, really, because
Okay.
we bring things to like, take off the edge or whatever.
Right.
So there was an abundance of liquor involved in
Mm.
almost every episode. And then, of course, when you're out eating, you get to order a drink and how many you want type situation. So it can kind of skew how it's really supposed to go instead of you being
Okay.
sober the whole time and drinking. But
Mhm.
usually when you go on dates anyway, you're going to be drinking. So it just depends on
Yes.
how much you're going to indulge.
Interesting. So I guess it depends on the person. Nobody ever said anything what they've done, but I just always felt like if you are in that position and you're just drinking and you're there for like 10 hours or however long it is, it just
Oh,
seems like it can get kind of dicey. I don't care where
it,
you are.
it gets dicey because, it's a lot of hurry up and wait type of situation. So
Mm,
at that time, then you're like talking to everybody else, to other cast members, like, oh, you want to do a shot, take a shot, or have another drink. So by the time you're filming, you're feeling nice for the most part.
okay. Yeah, pretty warm, as I say. I
Yeah.
only in the cold time when I'm drinking something brown. That's not my thing. Um, I'm more of a beer drinker. Um, so the whole process. Let me ask you a question. The whole entire process, how everything is set up, is it set up in your opinion that you can find love, and just in your opinion?
I feel like if you're intentional about it, then yes. If not, then you're going to play the game.
Mm,
And I call it a game because some people want to last to the end
mm-hmm,
because you get paid per episode. The longer you
mm,
last, the more money you get.
mm.
So it can be
Interesting.
skewed either way. So if
Right,
if you're looking for love and hopefully the other person is too, then it's a fucking great match.
right.
But if someone just wants to last until the end and create alliances and all that, then you're not going to find love in that.
Mm. So let's talk about the cast a little bit now. If I say anything that you don't want to talk about or is uncomfortable, just say, just let me know. We'll just move on. Just period. I know that prior to the show that you knew of Carmen. Was there any or knew Carmen? I'm sorry. Was there anybody else that you knew besides Carmen? Before getting on the show.
No, Carmen's the only person I knew,
Okay.
and
You.
our,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm
our
sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, Carmen and our relationship was more of like a working slash entertainment type relationship. It was
Okay.
never like on a level of, yo, let's go out or see where this can go with us, because we was out there networking and we were running the same circles of people. So it's like we never looked at each other like that for a
Right.
relationship wise, because
Mhm.
in her aspect thing, she's out with a lot of guys. So it's like, and she's a beautiful woman. So they're gonna be like flocking towards her. And then when she sees me, I was out with a lot of girls. And this is years ago. I was out with a lot of girls all the time.
Okay.
So And we talked. She's like, yeah, I got the perception that you was like a player. I was
Mm,
like, well, I probably was at that time. I
okay.
mean, no cap. So, and I told her, I was like, well, you had all the guys around you and stuff. So I only saw you like as a friend. We networked. She hit me up. She's like, hey, you come to this event? I was
Right.
like, yeah, I'll be there. It's not a problem. And then I hit her up for an event. She'll come to the events and we just hang out and just have fun. So that's where our relationship was before Ready to Love.
Mm. Let's talk about your connections on the show. Who were your connections?
So, of course, Dakia
Mm-hmm.
starting off because she was like my first blind date.
Okay.
And so it was Dakia. And then when I found out Carmen was on there, I was like, you know what? I can explore this a little bit
Of
more.
course. Right. Makes
And
sense.
it didn't really show all of it, but Sabrina was actually someone that I was interested in as well.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And then me and Precious vibe for a little bit.
Okay.
So it was mainly those four. And I had a blind date, not a blind date, a group date, and Ace, Joy was there, of course, the Kia.
Mm-hmm.
But I did like Joy as well too.
Okay.
And me and her,
Yes.
yeah, me and her talked back and forth, and we had like real honest conversations. And I asked her, I was like, "Hey, do you see yourself like moving forward with me?" And she was honest. She was like, "Well, I see you as being cool. We can be friends," type situation. And I was like, "Oh, that's not a problem." So we just kept it moving from there. So I never had that. We never got to that interest level, Joy and I.
Mm.
So yeah. And I never went out on a date with Ace. Never went on a date with Tina, and I think those are the main ones. So yeah.
Do you think if you would have stayed on the show that you probably would have stayed like a long time? Maybe some of the guys that are there now wouldn't be there, and you would
Oh
have
yeah.
had me. Okay, especially
I
with
think if I would have
Carmen.
stayed, then um, something would have transpired with love. If the
Mhm.
situation didn't go down the way it did, then yeah.
Wow. I know is that one thing that you can, well, I don't want to say regret because that's something that you'll never know. I'm saying that you can happen in real life, I understand that, but just that opportunity to be away from everybody, the different thing of the retreat, just that the time that you have that we don't normally have in dating, the opportunity to get, whatever. You feel like something would have been different compared to what we're seeing now.
Oh yeah, I think it would have been very different.
Hmm.
Very different.
I want to say that I'm going to ask a few questions about the incident, and like I said,
Mhm.
if I say anything that you're uncomfortable about, please let me know. And this may be triggering for some, so I'm giving a warning before we get started. I noticed on your channel that you don't promote the show. Was that a decision to do that before or after the incident?
That was definitely after the incident
Oh wow.
because it was a light that I was put in that wasn't accurate, and that actually should I feel like should not have been even been put in the show because I felt like it was resolved, but it got pushed
Mm.
more. So I don't like how that happened.
I can understand. I probably wouldn't have nothing like that attached to my anything. Yeah, oh Lord, honestly. So I want you to tell us about that day, whatever you're comfortable with telling us.
Okay. So, and I'll tell her what leads up to that day too.
Okay.
So, the day before, it was a men's lounge situation.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's not aired because, and I'm going to say editing because they spend so much time with everybody. You can't put everything in the show. You only have snippets, and that's all they can show.
Mm-hmm.
And, first of all, I would say I signed up for the show, so I know what I was getting myself into. And I know everyone has their own opinions, and they're entitled to their opinions.
Right.
But they have to also understand that they can't show every single thing that happens in the show.
Mm-hmm.
So going forward, we had a men's lounge the day before, and in the men's lounge, that's when I made the Kia my number two, and Carmen my number one.
Mm.
So leading up to this day, I pull up to where we're gonna do like the background shooting. So this wasn't even like shooting that's gonna be really aired or anyone having dates. It was just everybody
Okay.
like cuddled up. And like at the beginning of the show, you see Tori and Joy sitting in that chair when it's opening. That's
Yes.
what we were shooting. It's like that the B roll or back roll stuff.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
So that day I pull up and me and the Kia park next to each other. So she comes and get into my car. We're in there chatting, and me being transparent because I wanted to, let her know everything that's happening, so there's
Hmm.
she don't get blindsided with anything. I let her know. I was like, "Hey, in the men's lounge, so I let you know that I made the Kia. I made Carmen my number one, and you're
Okay.
my number two now." And she was like, "Okay, yeah, it's part of the process." So I felt like she understood everything, and we chatted. And then when the production people came, they was like, "Hey, you guys can't be sitting in the same car together." And then she got out and got in her car. Moving forward, we did all the pictures and the video, all that stuff they were supposed to do. And everyone's chatting. Me and her, we take time to talk to each other. Like that morning, we were texting each other, and she was like, "I can't wait to spend some time with you, some E&D time, and all this," because we was on a great situation. It was
Right.
almost like we're almost a couple, and that's what I felt because of
Start.
what
Yes.
was given to me in our conversations
Mhm.
and flirting back and forth. And even leading up to this, me and her kissed off a camera and all that stuff. So I'm feeling like, she's the one. Although I did make Carmen my number one because I still had to keep my options open. But, I felt like me being transparent with the Kia. So it's like you're not blindsided by any of the situation. So a little bit later, well, it's a long day.
Mm.
We've been drinking and uh, there might have been a little recreational stuff involved.
Ain't nothing wrong
But
with that at
we
all.
uh we decided to take a picture together. So I did ask her. I was like, "Hey, you want to take a picture?" She's like, "Yeah." And I give my phone to one of the other cast members,
Hmm.
and we start posing for the picture. So we posed for the picture. It was more like a prom type picture. My hand was like around her waist, playing it safe and all that stuff. And
Right.
we're
Right.
we're joking and laughing and stuff. And then I do the prom like picture, and she says, she jokingly says, "Oh, this is too promish," whatever. And me wanted to spice it up a little bit. I did move my hands up,
Hmm.
and it was confirmed because I talked to another one of the castmates because I didn't really think it touched her like that, but I
Okay.
had to get confirmation, and it was a trusted source. So I did touch her breast,
Okay.
but it wasn't like a groping type. But I did touch her breast, and I own up to it because it's what happened. I want to keep the truth out there.
Period. Okay.
So me touching her breast, she does turn around and be like, "Oh, don't do that." And I'm like,
Okay.
"Okay, my bad. Sorry
Hmm.
about that." And then we continue to take pictures.
Hmm.
So in my mind, I felt like it was over and that was it. But because there was still some more shooting to do. There was like another boat scene. So me and her still held hands. Like even on the boat, we're dancing together. So I'm not seeing where she really felt offended or
Okay.
anything like that because it was an apology and then we just kept it moving.
Okay.
So we do this whole boat scene, everybody's having fun, shit like that. And then it was time to go. I
Hmm.
get in my car, get ready to go. She texted me, said, "Hey, are you coming to the pier?" Because everyone else is going to the pier. I was like, "Well, I'm already like out already." So I was like,
Right.
"Nah, I'm not gonna make it," type situation. So I go home, have to do some more. I do some work, and then I get a text from her saying that, "Hey, I think we need to talk." And I was like, "Okay." And then almost immediately after, I get a call from another cast member,
Okay.
and the cast member tells me, "It's like, hey, um, the Kia is telling everybody that you touched her inappropriately."
Okay.
And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, she's telling everybody that you touched her inappropriately." And then someone else tells me, like, "Hey, I heard the conversation. Another cast member tells her, like, Eric made the Kia I met Carmen, you're number one. And then that's how it proceeded to say, oh, well, he inappropriately touched me anyway. And I felt like it was a spiteful thing. First of all, I felt like
Mm.
I was blindsided because you're going out and telling all the cast members first
Right.
before you even talk to me. You send me a text, but you still go out there and talk to everybody else. It could have been handled like an adult, or, us, between us, like, hey, I felt like this, and this. So I was like, then I would have been able to apologize again. Like, well, it's not meant. Can we squash it? Can we keep it moving? Because at that time, I really did like the Kia, because I thought she was an amazing person. She carried herself well, had nothing really bad to say about her. So when that happened, I was like, well, why would she do that? Go out here with all these people that we really don't know, and between us, it seems like we're going to be almost like in a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what we talked about. It was like, yo, we can leave the show now and just us be together type situation. So I'm really blindsided of her telling everybody else this stuff before she come to me. So when I found out the information, I'm the one that actually called production and let them know. I was like, hey, I just want to get ahead of this and let you know what's happening. The key is accusing that I touched her inappropriately. I was like, we had an incident. I told her, you know, I apologize for it, but now she's telling the whole cast about this situation, which I felt
Mm.
like it could have been internal. So I told the um, production about it. So, and I told him, I was like, yeah, I don't want to really be seen with her anymore because I don't trust the situation. And what happened after that? Oh, and then even after that, I tried to call her. Oh, I sent her a text after I found out, and I said, hey, I don't think there's anything we're going to talk about. We need to talk about,
Right.
because she already told everybody this information
Mm-hmm.
already. You told them, so why do you want to come to me afterwards? And then a little bit later, I sent her a text apologizing, saying, hey, I heard that you felt this type of way. I didn't mean for it to be that way. And I apologize for the situation. And I never got a text back or anything. And I was supposed to go on dates. Production stopped my dates, all that. Then I called them. I was like, hey, what is going on? I was like, I have a gig to do. Are you guys going to keep me or not? Because I can leave.
Right.
And then it was like, well, do you want to stay?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't them forcing me off. They asked me if I wanted to stay, if I wanted to leave.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what, let me think about it. I was like, actually, I want to have a conversation with Tommy first. So this is how the conversation between me and Tommy came about. And me and Tommy had a private conversation, and that's how I made my decision to go ahead and leave the situation, leave the
Okay.
journey. So I got on, spoke what it was, and production told me, there's like, well, the key is only saying that there was an incident. She's not describing what it is. So we want to try to keep it as minimal as possible. This is what they're telling me.
Right.
So that's why my answer on the show was like, yeah, we had an incident. That's why I wasn't really going into detail,
Okay.
because I told them, I was like, you know what, I'll just leave. I'm not even going to do this camera stuff.
Okay.
And they were like, well, we need a storyline. We have to tell them, give them something, the people, something of why you're leaving. And I was like, I really don't want to do that. He's like, but we have to do this for the show. So I was like, you know what? All right, I'll just say this little piece and then I'll be out. So come to find out, clearly the Kia said more than what they told me that she said. And then one of the things that really pissed me off, like I own up to me touching her like that, and I'm sorry about it. But and there's other guys around when this situation happened. So what really pissed me off was when I saw the part on the show where it said he was very physical. So I have daughters, right? And I have parents and I have all that stuff. So when someone says someone is very physical, that's open for interpretation. Now
Yes.
this can be like he grabbed me, or he pushed me or shook me or some shit like this.
Mm-hmm.
So saying that, and that's why when I sent the message in our private group and somebody leaked it to you, that's why I got pissed off about the situation because I'm trying to talk to our cast members, and
Okay.
then now it's out to everybody. So now it's all this because I was pissed off, and that's why I called her a name, and I felt like I could because you're fucking messing with my character out here, saying I
Hmm.
got very physical, and that's
Yes.
very very open interpretation. I have been nothing but a gentleman, like on all the dates, because I went on a date with Sabrina, um, Carmen, and Dakia. Nothing but a gentleman the whole time. You know, of course, flirty and shit, but nothing disrespectful.
Right.
But you're gonna paint me in a light as being a very physical individual, and I don't take that lightly.
Right.
So everyone has emotions. My emotions went off. I called her name and I tried to shut that shit down, let everybody know what happened since she was the one that told everybody at the pier without me being there or being able to defend myself because it didn't even have to go that far. And I think production, they needed something like a cliffhanger type situation or drama type situation. Because even when I was exiting the show, um, they said there was a part where I said I wasn't ready to love. And
Yes.
even Tommy was like, no, 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 it's not that you're not ready to love. It's just you want to end the journey. I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So we even reshot that part. I was like, yeah, let's use this part of saying I'm ending the journey, not ready to love, because I'm ready to love. This is a unfortunate situation.
Yes.
And I didn't want to continue because she put this all out to everybody. Only one person really reached out to me to ask about what was happening. Well, Sabrina did too, actually. She reached out as well and see how I was doing. But now everyone has this perception because I couldn't defend myself with any of the situation. So I was like, you know what? I'd rather just cut it short, just leave, keep it moving because the job that I have, I really didn't need the show
Hmm.
for any of the situation. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go back to work and just forget
Live your
this
life.
and
Right.
just keep it moving. So yeah, and I apologized to her again, like when we had the reunion,
Hmm.
there was an apology given, and then she wanted to egg on some more shit. I was like, yo, do you want to keep going or do you want to accept this apology?
Mm.
So I feel like my personal opinion is she wanted to play the victim. She was embarrassed by what happened, and I feel like if me and her was alone and the situation happened, it would have been okay. It was wrong for me to do it like in front of people, and I'm not going to be violent or very aggressive or
Hmm.
physical in front of people. And if I'm very physical and all these other guys around, what is it saying about these other guys if they're just standing and watching? If she's saying that I was very physical, right? That means everybody's just going to look and
Hmm.
be like, oh, look at him just harmed this girl. But that's not the situation. And then even, um, so Donovan was the one taking the picture, right?
Yes.
So she's trying to get this connection with Donovan as well. So I feel like she did that also because she didn't want to make it seem like me and her was that close anymore. But everybody already saw
Gotcha.
that
Hmm.
the key and I was close, and I thought we were close. So maybe I should have reevaluated how close we was after I told her that Carmen was my number one now. Because who wants to be a number two? So you're
Yes.
gonna really find someone else now to make that number one type of situation. So there's many things that could have happened in hindsight, but that's what happened, and I own up to it. But I feel like things could have been handled differently, and I felt like her wording could be different about the very physical. That's what really got to me.
Let me start here and say this, okay? A woman's body, anybody's body, we're supposed to respect, each other's boundaries.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you what made you feel comfortable to do that? Because a man has to feel very comfortable to even play, touch a certain type of way.
Right. And I actually felt like we were in that area already. That's what I felt like from our private conversations and even us kissing off screen. So I felt like we were at that space. It shouldn't have happened in front of anybody, though. I would say that. And I don't want to make excuses. I shouldn't have been drinking or anything like that
Hmm.
because it was things released and I still own responsibility. I
Right.
still did it and I shouldn't have. But I felt like we were at that space because everyone's flirty on the show, right? You
Hmm.
see her flirting and me flirting and all that, but imagine that flirting with the people that's not your number one. Imagine people flirting with their number one. It's deeper than everybody else.
Yes.
So in my mind, I felt like we was a little bit we were further on because we're talking about we can leave the show and be together type situation. So I should have really reevaluated where we were and if that's the case, anybody can be like, yeah, don't touch me or whatever.
Right.
Because I witnessed someone else touching her. Not saying it was excusable for me, but
Hmm.
and nothing was said about it. It was permitted to that person. And everybody has their own choice of who they want to do it. But I felt mine was more of a vindictive type situation. And nobody was really around except me that saw it. And she saw that I saw it. But everyone has their own choice of who they want to touch them. And I understand that. And I think mine shouldn't have been done in public like that because where we were, I felt like it was permissible.
Um, your peers. You said you had people around you, guys, or then people that was there, or whatever.
Right.
Um, did it? Did anything happen? Did anybody say anything? Because it doesn't sound like nobody reacted. I wasn't there. I'm not gonna assume. That's why I'm asking. Did anybody react? Did anybody say anything? I'm talking about a male, not just one
No,
of the women.
that's what I'm saying. Like, if I was very physical with her or anything,
Hmm.
then somebody would have said something at that moment. Because if I felt like somebody was attacking a woman or doing something, I would say something at that moment. But
Gotcha.
nobody said anything because they knew the dynamics of her and I relationship. And I was told this by one of the members. I was like, well, why didn't you say anything?
Mhm.
He's like, well, I felt you guys were already together. You guys had that bond and all that already. And she was jokingly saying, oh, this is like a prom picture. And then you try to make it more up. You move your hands up and I touched her breast. So it felt like, oh, this is how they play or whatever. And I mean, I can't really blame them for thinking about how we play because all people can see is how much of a bond the kid and I had. And
Mhm.
they probably thought it was at that point already because we walk around holding hands and cuddling up with each other and shit. So that's why no one would jump in. Now, if it was very physical, I'm sure these guys, they're gentlemen, so
Yes.
they would jump in and they would say something. They would be like, "Yo, Chef or Eric, why would you do some shit like that?" But nobody said nothing. It happened, and then she corrected me, put me in my place, and I said my bad. And then we kept taking pictures and kept it moving. And I thought that was the end of it.
Do you think production handled this very well? In your opinion, handled you? Because I'm not gonna even give that. I'm gonna say, um, as far as maybe being more on her side than yours.
I'll say yes, being her side more than mine, because for me trying to take accountability of everything, I went to production first and let them know what happened,
Hmm.
and then um, they found out later through her or somebody else. She said she didn't talk to them, but she found out through somebody else. That means another cast member had to come and say something. So that's why I don't really know the trust with these people. But
Right.
it was more so on her side, even though I'm the one that told them first and tried to come out with it.
Right.
And then I also think it's skewed because they told me that she said one thing and didn't put any information out about it.
Hmm.
And then come to find out it's aired that she said something because it was supposed to be more quiet, like just to let it go type
Right.
situation.
Right.
And then it made it really seem like they even didn't tell me about what she said. So it's really making me looking more like the bad guy. Like this guy got very physical with her. They put that out there. So I'm like, why would they do that? Like even with my interviews, everyone else who's getting these interviews, Own the people from Own actually told me that, yeah, we're not going to do any interviews with you. And then I'm like, why wouldn't you do that? I was like, I have a story to tell because people are
Mhm.
actually hitting up me, which I don't give a fuck about. I'm grown. I
Right.
chose to be on the show.
Hmm.
But when people go into my daughter's DM
Oh no.
and tell her that, oh, we're gonna grab your breast, or they threaten
Oh,
her and shit like
oh
that,
my God.
that's on a whole nother level. And
Yes.
this is all because the very physical part came out, saying that your dad is like
Yes.
aggressive, all this shit. Now that's the shit that pissed me off
Right. 100%. I hate
because
that word aggressive. I hate that word for black people. I cannot stand that
yeah,
word. I cannot. It attached to us is very, it's very, very negative. And then the fact that I know your daughters and having to deal with that, no, I don't agree with that. If they feel a certain way about you or whatever, bringing
come to
your
me.
daughters into it is, and I have a daughter myself, and I would lose my crap if that happened to me. I don't approve of bringing of attacking family, bringing the family. You're the one that signed up for it, not the babies. I don't agree
Exactly
with that.
because I don't care if people attack me because I'm on the Ready to Love Facebook groups and all that, and I just look at it. I don't really respond to any of the shit because people are entitled to their opinion and
Yes.
they only can see they only can judge what they see off of
Mhm.
TV,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
everything is not shown. So people say all types of shit. And I'm like, yeah, it's whatever. But as soon as you come and talk to my daughter or threaten my daughter, then we have a whole other problem. If you have a problem like that and you think you can threaten my daughter and shit, come to me. I'll give you my address or I'll meet you somewhere and we can make the shit happen because I don't got a
Period.
problem with that type of situation. Just don't come for my kids, yo. That's all I care about. People can talk about me all fucking day. Don't don't come to my daughter talking about, oh, your dad's very physical. That's why that shit pissed me off that she said that. And I don't think I will ever get over it. And I'll honestly say that I really liked her. I
Mhm.
really liked Kia, and I
Mhm.
could have seen myself going all the way with her. But all that shit happened, it was out the window.
Well, it's okay. I'm gonna go back to the actual incident. Okay, so I was like, okay, well, was it more? Was you like? I don't want to say because I don't even see. I mean, I've played as far as the guy I'm close to. We all have and done things or whatever. I don't know if I want that in public, as far as above this area.
Right.
This is me speaking for myself. So, and I know you guys are comfortable with each other, whatever. But just I would, was it a reaction, a natural reaction that you grabbed that? Because I understand you said you were grabbing her for the prom picture or whatever, and you ended up touching her up there. I just because in the beginning it kind of seemed like you were surprised or you didn't realize you even did it. So like you really felt comfortable with her to do that, and but her reaction in front of everybody. But why would you do that in public is what I want to ask. Why would you do that part in public? Y'all doing it behind the scenes, that's a beautiful thing. But why
Right.
would you do that in public? And they probably never, unless you've done that before. Has this happened before?
No, I have had before, and like I
Okay.
said, I did admit that it should not have happened in public.
Okay.
Yeah, so I take ownership of that. It should not have happened in public. But not but when she said uh, this is too promish, I didn't think clearly with it, and it shouldn't have happened. But I did move my hands up because I wanted to make it a little more risque type situation and take the
Right.
pictures. So I take ownership of it should not have been done in public, regardless. So yeah,
Well,
I there's no argument on that.
I'm happy that you did apologize. I cannot speak for her. I'm not gonna do that. And when I speak about as far as men and their reputation, I understand her reputation also is out there, but a black man gets bashed a lot. And
Oh
whether
yeah,
people want to believe it or not, or call it whatever, I can be a black woman that is all about women's empowerment, and I still am, and can still look at different things about a picture. I dissect all of it. I'm not gonna just look at one side. I cannot just look at one side of a situation. So that's why I'm asking these questions. Whether I um, whether somebody agrees with it or not. I'm asking the questions to get, some answers. I'm really trying to talk to the chat. That's really what I'm saying. But I'm asking these questions, and I'm enjoying the fact that you are very transparent because you don't have to be that transparent. Okay, so
Right.
you leaving the show was your idea. What
Right.
happened? What happened after it was done? What happened in your life? How did it affect your real life after everything was done?
Oh, I just kept it moving. I went back to my client and traveled with them, and then I actually got finished filming my own Netflix show.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, so I mean, my life just kept going. It's a fortunate incident that that happened, and it didn't really affect like my business or anything because
Okay.
I I'm a fucking great chef.
Hmm.
So I let my food speak for me. I don't really like try to big up any of my things. Like when I go to different gigs or whatever, I don't be like, yo, I'm the best. I let them taste it, and then they give me their input, and it's never ever hardly bad. But I please the palate, so you tell me where to fix things at, and that's what I do. I please it. So it didn't affect my real world except when that part aired. And I would say this as well. Um, what I don't like about production, so well, I don't give a shit. We already shot
Go
the
ahead.
reunion, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So we don't get to see everything that's shown on the screen. So like they didn't even show me about her saying the very physical part. They
Okay.
only I feel like if they shoot a reunion, it should be after the show is over, so everyone can see everything that happens in the show. So we're really blindsided when we had a reunion because we had the reunion like 1 or 2 episodes in. I wasn't even eliminated yet. So we had a reunion like right when the show aired. It was going to be like right before, but everyone's
They did
schedule was
early.
messed up.
Hmm.
So it got pushed back. So we don't really know what's out there. And then when we do the
Oh.
reunion, they show like this little clip and
Hmm.
then we talk just about that piece.
Okay.
So we
You
don't
don't
know
know
everything
what.
that's happened. And I don't think it's fair to the cast that don't get to see the whole entire thing before the reunion. It's like even now, my what I voice on the reunion show is going to be different than now because I didn't feel like I touched her breasts.
Okay.
So now when we go see the reunion, they're going to be like, okay, he said he didn't do it.
Hmm.
But after I talked to another cast member, because I was drinking and all that
Hmm.
stuff. So after I talked to him, and he was like, "Yo, you did do it." So I was like, "Okay."
Mm.
So that's why I want to make sure I had all the information before I go on any interviews, so I can be honest about my shit and own up to my shit because I don't want to lie about anything. So it's not fair that they try to shoot your reunion before and they only show little pieces of things.
Yep. They do it way too early, in my opinion. They do this. It's
Way
very
up.
strategic. It's very strategic.
And
They
that
do.
and that's one of the reasons why I felt like bad for like even Precious because it's the way they edit. I think Precious is like an amazing person. She's smart,
Hmm. Hmm.
all that. She's a beautiful woman. She's been through struggles because me and her connected um, at the beginning too. So I think she's like a beautiful soul and she's like a dope ass woman too.
Hmm.
And she likes to have fun. She likes to do whatever, but she's very very smart and she's about her business. So it's like the way it painted her was in a bad light too. So I didn't like that part either. But I don't really talk to any of them anymore because
Everything that happened or
shit that
whatever.
happens, right? So
So,
I see people for how they are, and we see each other on the show. Like even when like this shit that just aired with like Clifton,
hmm,
it was inaccurate because he knew his choices already, but they made it seem like he didn't know
he
what he
was
wanted to
walling
do.
back and forth. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
we talked about that. Yeah,
yeah. So
um,
it's like
that's the
it's a
editing. That's the editing thing. But is that what you? Just one thing I want to go back to. You said on the reunion, you said you didn't do it. But
Right.
of course, here you are saying that you did do it. What was the? Because I mean, I'm asking because it does sound like you're telling two different stories, or was it an editing thing, or production thing, or you just didn't
No,
know
no,
you
no.
did it?
It was me saying it, but I didn't think
Okay.
I did it because it did happen fast, and I would say I was drunk
Mm-hmm.
at the time too. So I feel like it might have been a graze or just a motion up because realistically, her breasts are not small. So my hand going up, I would say that it would have grazed it, but it was more than a graze, or I didn't feel like I did it. But that's why I went to another castmate and was like, "Yo, did I really do this?" type situation, and he's like, "I feel like you did." So I had to be like, "Yo, I have to correct my situation. If I did it, then I did it, and I trust what he says." So, and because when it happened with the Kia, it was like, is she doing this to because now she's number two and she want sympathy, or she felt bad because it was done in front of Donovan and she wants him to be the number one now. But I did it, so
I
I
mean,
I take ownership.
it may have been all of those things, but at the end of the day, you did make her
I did.
feel uncomfortable. For it is her right to feel uncomfortable because it was and she may have been just embarrassed, and it may the retaliation because the fact she found out about the whole situation. Because like I said before, you said you felt comfortable with her in that way, but at the end of the day, if anyone feels uncomfortable because someone touched them, you know, I mean, that's just not really anything. Because regardless of how I
No,
feel
no.
about it, as a woman, if
Yeah,
I felt
it's
that way,
man,
it wouldn't matter
man
what
or
was going on.
woman.
Yeah,
I think it's man or woman, but I think men
yeah.
don't
I said
really.
anybody. Yeah, anybody,
Yeah,
anybody.
about men don't really say anything about it because it's like, okay, this woman is touching me. But everyone has their own right to feel how they want to feel,
Yeah,
and that's why I apologize because I don't want it to seem like, oh, this dude's just gonna fucking grab on people or do
right.
whatever
I agree
and
with
not
that.
have no remorse about it.
Hmm.
And there's a part where she felt like she didn't feel like I was remorseful enough. But if I say my bad, sorry, then that means I'm sorry. And then we keep it moving. I thought it was squashed after that, but it definitely was not squashed after that
Hmm.
because now you're going to tell everybody else that you feel like you was um, touched inappropriately, and I'm not even there. And that's one of the parts that I didn't like as well. That you're going to say this in front of all the castmates, and this
Hmm.
is going to automatically put it's going to dim my light for any other connections already, where we could have just had this conversation if she felt like that bad, that we're like, okay, Eric, this is how I felt, boom, boom, boom. And then it would have been more of an apology, more of a consoling, because like I said, I liked her. I really did. And I didn't want to hurt her or anybody in the show in any type of way. So for her to do that behind my back, it's like, why would you do this? I thought we were closer than that. Like even if someone did something to me, I would come to them like, "Hey, yo, this is how I feel about this situation." And I'd be like, "Yo, I can't believe such and such did this type situation." But everyone works differently in the situation because she's even texting me after the situation, like, "Hey, are you coming to the pier? We're all gonna hang out." I'm like, "Nah." She's like,
Hmm.
"Okay, well, we'll get up later." Because at first I was gonna put up all these receipts and all this, and I'm not trying to put her in a bad light situation because I can pull up whatever I need to pull up to show how close we were, but I still respect her in a sense. I don't respect what she did,
Okay.
saying the shit that she said on TV like that,
Hmm.
but I still try to protect my black people at the same time because it's feel like we're always being torn down. The woman always think the man is bad and dirty and no good, the black man, and we feel like whatever, everyone's independent, they don't need nobody, but everybody really do need somebody realistically. And I was hoping to find that connection here
Right.
and hoping it was going to be with the Kia,
Hmm.
but it is not.
No, it is not, and you ended up leaving? Because it's like to me, you initiated everything as far as you felt you were wrong. You went to production. Was there anybody else in the cast that went to production besides you that you know of?
I don't know because nobody would say anything.
Oh, really?
Nobody says who it was if they did it because people are fucking conniving and sneaky. Like even if one of the guys they felt a certain type of way, me as a man, I'll be like, yo, Eric, you did this. I will come to you as a man or whatever
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and just talk about the situation. And that's what I expected, but it didn't happen in that way. Donovan, he reached out to me, of course.
Yes,
I felt like he's a genuine dude. But,
he is.
and at the same time, I wasn't close with everybody. Everybody, we're just meeting each other, right?
Yes.
At the same
Mm-hmm.
time. So I do have, I do be cautious of who's in my space and who I would consider like a friend type situation. I don't have a lot of friends. I have a lot of associates and acquaintances, but I felt like because we're in like this men lounge, and it wasn't always that gravy or good in the men's lounge either, but there was always a little something happening. But I feel like the men could have been a little more closer or talk to each other a little bit more with the situation because, and it is a competition too. So if someone else did want the Kia, so they're going to be on her side, be like, yeah,
Gotcha.
this get this dude out of here type situation. So I'm gone. So nobody like really reached out to say, hey, is this true? It's automatically she said it. This is what happened, and it did happen, but I felt like it should have been brought to me first due to Kia.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Now I'm gonna ask some questions that I'm pretty sure is gonna piss some people off. Which, if you know my channel, you know I don't care. So now, as far as you finding out about it, when it initially happened, she told you to stop. You stopped immediately. After that, was there any indication at all that it was like, she feels weird, she feels uncomfortable, I feel awkward? I mean, in the moment, right after the picture and all that stuff or whatever, and the picture was still taken, correct?
Yes. So after the incident happened, we still took pictures, and I didn't feel like she felt any type of way at all. She said she did, but by our interactions afterwards, no, because we still danced on the boat, just having fun in there. She's right next to me. I feel like if you felt that type of way, you could have moved to another space. You didn't have to be by me still. There's even pictures of me and her like right next to each other doing the situation. Now, if you felt uncomfortable, I feel like if you felt uncomfortable, then you would have moved somewhere else and not be by me. Or told the production like right away because everyone is there. But at this time, I'm still assuming that we're good because it happened. She told me to stop or don't do that. I apologize. And I thought that was it. So I had no indication that she was harboring or still felt this way, that I was physically or very physical with her. Because I don't know anyone that's going to be around someone that's going to be very physical. So this is where it's a fucking gray line in the situation of how everything happened. So I had no indication that she felt like this at all because we just went on our merry way and kept on.
Well, I'm gonna say that women, all everybody's different, and people do process things differently. Some people will fake the funk, and not want to reveal that they're embarrassed or don't want to whatever. Women, especially they feel like they are in an uncomfortable situation. People side eyed with the text messages. Why would you saying "Hey, babe" and come on and stuff like that? And then telling the cast before she told you, really told you in depth is that's hard for a lot of people to process because they're like, okay, why would you tell the? Because for me, it's like maybe not being comfortable around you. I mean, sorry, faking it and taking the pictures and just doing it. Women do that too, but maybe after you left, telling you how I felt instead of telling the cast is one of the things that a lot of people did not understand. Why would you tell everybody else and not hit him up? You don't say it face to face. He's gone now. You faked it for that whole picture scene, whatever it was. then why do you
Mhm.
shoot out a text message and not saying, "Hey, babe, like, look, I need to say this. I can't be around you. I'm uncomfortable. Blah blah blah, whatever." Because she didn't have to say it in your face to deliver the message, especially if she felt uncomfortable around you. You know what I'm saying? And this is
Yeah,
just me speaking. This is just me speaking. Like I said, women, everybody thinks process things differently, but at the same time, giving different signals. Anybody human, if you didn't think anything was wrong, you would proceed as normal. You wouldn't think anything was wrong. So I have to say
absolutely.
that as well. You had no idea. Now you guys kind of dragged each other a little bit. Who started the dragations? What I call it? Was it you or was it her?
What do you mean, like the
Like
dragation?
y'all, like the stuff I posted, how y'all was going back and forth, and you said you said you called her name. Was that the first time that y'all kind of got like
Oh, you
dicey?
mean when you got the
Yeah.
private chat
Mhm.
message?
Mhm. Yes, I
Oh,
did. Mhm.
yeah. No, I started that shit
Okay.
because that's when I initially saw that she said that I got very physical. So I was in my emotions because you are now like slandering my character, who I am. So when you do that, people are going to assume like, oh, this nigga, he's like a wife beater, or he puts his hand on women because very physical, and you have. She chose those words to use, and that's the part that got me. And then she was saying there's like we went back and forth, even on that message. It didn't show all of it because whoever leaked it and sneaked it and sent it to you, they didn't show everything. And I asked her about the very physical part. She's like, well, the production made me say something. I was like, but you chose those words to use of very physical.
Mhm.
And I was gonna be cool and just let the shit slide and just wait for everything else. But when that was my trigger right there because like for me, I'm a gentleman. I open the door for women. I walk on the correct side of the road. And I do this for my daughters because I teach them that's what men's supposed to do. I send my daughters flowers every Valentine's Day. I just do it like just because, I love them because they're my kids. And I do this for whoever I'm with. So when you paint that light right there, it's like, wow. Because it changes like what anybody would perceive me as. And that's what she chose to say and put out there. And I do also blame production because they told me that she's not really saying anything about the situation. It's just we're just gonna say that you guys just didn't connect anymore. So when I see it, I was like, all right, Kia did this, and then fucking production did this the way they wanted
Mhm.
to edit it
Mhm.
because it was supposed to be like a smooth type exit because I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to just go type situation because
Right.
what they tell us is anything that happens off camera, they can't use or we can't say or speak about. But they chose to do this. So they have
Yeah.
their little lines of shit. So it is what it is. And I'll be having a discussion with them as well.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna have you to get deep into that, but I was gonna say it doesn't seem like that y'all had a good relationship because you said they wouldn't give you no interviews or anything, which I find that they obviously made a decision themselves. Like,
To cut me out.
yes, yes.
Because I would say at first they set me up for an interview.
Mm-hmm.
And then they set me up for an interview. It's supposed to be on one of the Mondays. And then like 2 hours later or so, they sent me a message saying, oh, we're not going to do any more interviews right now. And then an hour later, I see they put they had a Vern interview with Vern coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a screenshot and I said, no more interviews like this. And then they said, oh no, we're going to pause any interviews with you right now. I was like, cool, just a pause. And then I hit them up again. I was like, hey, so people are now threatening my daughter, and I want to get this information out, tell my side of the story, even own up to my situation because I'm owning
Mm-hmm.
it. And they responded with, we're not going to do any interviews with you. We're just going to skip you and just do interviews. I was like, so you guys don't want me to say my piece or what it is, whatever the situation is. And I got no more responses after that. So OWN is like, oh, we're not gonna let you speak. It's like, bet I have to get my shit out somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I feel like, I also feel like there's favorites in on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So realistically, I feel like Takia is one of the favorites that they
Mm-hmm.
have because there's other situations where she says something and then production calls whoever and be like, hey, I need you to talk to the Kia or engage more with the Kia now. So, but there's other people on here that's we'll just keep watching to see what happens.
Hmm.
But it's an interesting situation. It's an interesting situation of how it's almost like Ready to Love the Kia show.
Yeah. Um. Okay. Now, I know you said you pretty much over everything. I know we have the few shows at the end of it, and then we have the reunion. Um, is the reunion going to have people side eyeing you more? And I say that because as soon as you said something different on the reunion, the comments just fired up. So I'm like trying to imagine at the reunion when you really say, because even when you said I hate I hurt her feelings, it made
Hmm.
people question back and forth like, okay, he said he hurt her feelings. Does that mean that she's not telling the truth? Does this mean what is it? You know what I'm saying? What
So, so with the hurt the feelings part is that's when production told me they said, hey, the key is not saying anything about having the incident. We're just going to say that her feelings were hurt and boom, 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 boom. I was like, okay, then that's what I'll say because they said we're not going to make a big deal out of it. So they're telling me something different than what she actually said on the show because they came to me making it seem like she's not saying anything about what happened with the whole situation. So that's why I just said I hurt her feelings. I'm not ready to love. Just gonna
mm-hmm.
keep on move on. I'm not here to hurt anybody's feelings, and I'm not here to hurt anybody. I wasn't there to hurt
Right.
anybody's feelings. So it was a difference in what production made the situation look like. On
Mm-hmm.
hers, it's like now if I knew that she said what she's gonna say, I would have came out and said the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they gave me like a dumbed down version of what she said. So they came to me first and it's like, so she said this. She's not saying that you touched her or you did anything like that. It's just like you guys had a conversation, you didn't see eye to eye. So I went along with that dialogue. I was like, okay, not a problem. So that's why I said hurt her feelings on the show. So
Okay.
and then even in the on the reunion part of it, um, I wasn't trying to go into a lot of detail either because I still didn't see that part
Right.
because they filmed the reunion like on the first fucking episode, so nobody, the cast members know what's happening. So I'm still thinking that okay, it's just a situation of um, we're not going into depth of what's happening. So now that I see that, when I saw that, I was like, oh, so it's really, really, really out there. And I hit up the production and all that. I was like, you guys said this, you guys said that, but it's here. Nobody responds. So now it's making me look like, oh, this nigga right here looks shifty now.
You did say that word. Look, I gotta get my coin, baby. And I don't use that word. I just don't use it. I mean,
Oh,
in my youth I did, but I really
all right.
try not to use it
Well,
because
it's making you
I
guys
know
look
what you're saying.
shifty.
I'm not taking it in a personal way. I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about the word, but I mean, I'm not tripping because you say the word. I just that's just not my thing. But because
No,
something you
no, I
said
get
earlier, I
it.
was like, he didn't say that.
Yeah, I'm gonna respect it. If you don't say it,
Right,
then I won't use it. But it's making me look shifty and all that
right.
because they're telling me one thing and that, and then when I hit them up about, hey, you guys say you were going to only put this part out there, and then nobody responds, so it's like, oh, now I'm looking real stupid now. I should have just went ahead and said everything and still bowed out, but now it's looking like I'm the one that's not having my story together, and they're giving me a storyline saying, okay, she's not saying this, and now I'm putting it out there thinking that she didn't, but now she's saying this and saying he's very physical.
Okay, now we broke that down. I want to ask you this important question. Are you single now? And it's a two-parter. Did this situation affect the way you date after all this said and done?
Um, I'm not gonna put my personal life out there anymore.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
I'm not gonna confirm or deny
Respectful.
being single. But I don't have to worry about. I would just say I don't have to worry about that situation. It did put a different light on situation, but I also think that because it's a show and it's really a hurry up and find a connection.
Speedy. That yeah.
Yeah, it's really a real speed dating type of situation. So I don't think I would be like that in the real world. So I am more cautious in the real world, and of course, this wouldn't be in front of other people and on camera and all this type of situation. Would I do another reality show like this? Absolutely not.
Oh
But
yeah. I was gonna ask
yeah,
you that, but yeah.
but it's a whole different process. And before I went into it, I knew it can go either way. It can go
Hmm.
good or go bad because people are entitled to their opinions and of what they see on TV. So that's why I don't care about what people really say about my situation or what happens
Right.
because we put ourselves out there and
This
you
is
have to
true.
own it. And
Hmm.
you can't be all up in your feelings when somebody says something because we know
I say
about
this all the
editing.
time.
Yeah, and I've been on a show before. I've been on Chop, so I know how they edit stuff. So I was really knowing how things would be perceived, how things go when they edit stuff. So that's why it's like I wonder how they're going to edit it. So when you go in these type of situations, these shows, you have to understand that people are going to perceive you a certain way of how you're presented.
Yes.
So
The narrative. Yes, I agree.
yeah, what the narrative is, and then people always talk about like when cast members say, "Oh, it's how it's edited or how production do things." We're not making excuses. Yes, we do things on the show, but the way they cut and splice things,
Hmm.
it's
Can we miss
it's not
pieces of
always accurate.
conversation?
Because like
Hmm.
sometimes, like even on the date with the Kia and Carmen, the best friend thing, you could see that there was food on the table. Sometimes there was food on the table, some of the not food on the table because they edit it, splice it together. If you look at it, it's like, why is there no food now? Oh, why is there food now? And they're saying different things, and they like they're bickering sometimes with the situation. So it is how they edit different situations on the show. But the words that come in your mouth are real, but it might not be in that order.
Right. So, thank you for answering those questions. I want to ask you about Miss Carmen, the beautiful Carmen. Do you guys? And I'm saying this like, yeah, but do you guys still talk? Are you still close after all this is said and done?
Oh yeah, because so like people ask before like why didn't you do stuff with Carmen or why do you guys have a relationship before and all that. So Carmen, she is really like a ride or die friend. She is
Mhm.
a friend that somebody would definitely want to have in their life and have in their corner because she actually looked out for me on the show. She told me some things. She's like, maybe you should just chill out with this type of situation
Right.
or just do this because she was in the circle. She can hear people talking.
Mm-hmm.
So she is she is a dope ass person. She knows she's what she's grown. Everybody's grown. Everybody see her like in this different light, but I bet everybody would want her as a friend because she's like really a ride or die or dope ass type of friend. If you're on her good side, that's it. She's with you for life. If you're on the bad side, that's it. Watch out for your life. So it just depends. But Carmen and I, we do talk. We always try to hang out and shit. And I don't get to hang out with people as much because I'm always traveling. So
Yes.
everyone's out there having fun doing this type of stuff. So I'm out working and stuff, and we try to connect, but we never really get the chance to connect. But we do talk, and she is like an amazing person, and she's a really person that's really like looking for love type situation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also how the the picture is painted. Like even when I had my episode when I was in the kitchen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And me and Dakia is talking, and then Carmen comes in. Um, even around that time, I was still wanting to see what was happening with Carmen. And I did just tell the kid, I was like, yeah, I can see us together and be in a relationship and all that stuff too. But Carmen has like this like other energy and other light. That's why it was back and forth and nobody got to see it, how Carmen and I connected and how we're on the same page. And even when I made her my number one, because I would have loved to explore more with Carmen because she's an amazing individual. But we are great friends and we are gonna
Yeah, you can
remain great
tell.
friends.
Hmm.
Yeah, she's dope, 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 dope. So yeah, we talk. And I talk to more of the some of the other cast members more too because it's a different environment trying to get to know each other in a competitive state because that's what we are. We're competing and
Yes.
clashing and trying to get with somebody and have somebody like us. But like after the show, I got to figure out who people are more. So like I talk to Clifton more. Me and Vern talk every once in a while. Talk to Donovan, Joy. She's like a fucking amazing soul.
Hmm.
She's dope. But yeah, and of course Carmen. So yeah, she's an amazing person.
So now you get down in the kitchen, okay, and do all these different fun things. So that is your love, your life. Um, I know you said you taped something for Netflix, and it's interesting. It's very, very interesting that you said you was on what show before?
Chopped
Chopped.
on
That
Food
was
Network.
very
Yeah.
interesting. That was very interesting to me. So Chopped, that's a reality show that we all know about. So you kind of got a little bit about how being on a reality show, but it's two different kinds, cooking, but you're still competing.
Right.
You still competing. So, and you are you gonna continue doing stuff like that now? You say you want to get into shows like this, but will you start getting to stuff like the food stuff? There's plenty of food competition shows out there.
Oh yeah. I have another food competition show coming up because it's my passion. So
Hmm.
I was doing before I was cooking or being a chef, I was a systems engineer. So I worked with different servers. I worked with this program called SCCM, which is System Center Configuration Manager. It basically brings like all the servers together. I do application packaging to create different software and all that shit. But it wasn't my passion. So cooking was my passion. So I left being an engineer to follow my dream and my passion. So because that's where I just thrived at. It was like my happy place. So I got into cooking more and I'm self-taught. So I learned everything because realistically, everybody can do what they want to do. There's
Right.
a wealth of knowledge out there, YouTube,
Yes,
university,
there is. Yes.
whatever, because people can do what they want. And this is what I do. I
Hmm.
also do speaking engagements and I try to encourage people to follow their dreams and their passion. But with the cooking, I went on this competition show because they hit me up twice. The first time I said no because I
Hmm.
didn't feel like I was ready. Then the second time I did go, and then it was an amazing experience, and I won. It was a tournament. I won my round of the tournament, which made me a chop champion because I felt like it would put me at. It would let me know where I stood with other chefs, people that went to culinary school and all that. But I am going to do more competition show and I'm really going to hone in on my show that I film. So my show is this the Netflix show that I'm doing is I go out into the wild and actually survive out there on my own. So I go out hunting, um, do fires, build a cabin and all that shit just to survive. And then one of the main things I do is highlight Black history wherever I go.
Hmm.
Because the first show that I did is in Alaska. A lot of people don't know
Oh my
there's
God.
Black history in Alaska. Yeah. I
Yes,
was
there
out there
is.
in 30 below weather. I fell through the ice before
Oh my
in there.
God.
So yeah, I'm a really survivalist type of dude
So
out
won't
here.
you go on something like that? Now, I love reviewing competition shows, and I don't it's not enough of us on there. Why don't you do something like the challenge? That sounds like or even survival stuff like that. I'm telling you that it's not enough of us on there doing that type of stuff. You really should get into
Oh
that.
yeah, because I'm actually gonna try. I'm gonna try to do Naked and Afraid. I'm gonna try to do the show
Oh
called
Lord
Alone,
Jesus.
all that because it's what I do. Because I
Right.
grew up. My father was in the military. I was in the military, so I've learned all this stuff, and then I do it on my own. Like I said, every 6 months or so, I'll go out and just live off the land. I go shoot bow and arrow, hunting, all that, setting traps. But that is more of my speed than a dating show
Right.
that I found out. I just wanted to give this a try because I thought it would
Of
be
course. Mm-hmm.
beneficial for my life. It turned out that um, it didn't go the way I wanted it to go,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay. And do I
Yes.
regret it? Um, I really say I don't regret anything in life because it teaches a lesson. So
I
I
agree
learn a
with that.
lesson from everything that I do in my life and just try to move forward. It's all about how you come out of something, not when you're going through it. Because everyone goes through something in their life, but it's
Yes.
how you navigate to get out of it. And if you have that endurance and perseverance to move and keep going forward and higher in your life.
That's a beautiful way to look at things, because especially the situation you went through was really, 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 really negative. It really was, and you have to have some kind of positive outlook. I tell you,
Yeah.
I'm the black sheep of this situation, not serious situation, but of the bloggers. I mean, it's not a secret. It's not a
Oh, yeah.
secret that I'm on the list to not talk to. I know that, and I thrive on it, and I succeed.
But
So,
I think with me, it's also, well, for people in general, it's also you taking ownership of
mhm,
what had happened. Like
right.
me coming in here, I'm taking ownership of what I did do and
Hmm.
happened. I'm not trying to, push it under the rug. I did the situation. I'm sorry
Hmm.
for it. I apologize for it.
Right.
And I felt like that should have been it, but it kept moving forward. But it's take ownership of whatever you've done in your life and you keep it moving. Because if you're going to lie about it or, you know, just trying to act like it didn't happen, it's still going to haunt you. And this still, part of it still is going to haunt me now because people are still going to have their perception of me or whatever. But it's all about what you feel about in your
That's
mind
true.
and who's on your side, whatever. But just keep going regardless.
Yes. Yes. Don't. The thing about it is, they gonna say, they gonna talk. You can't stop doing what you're doing. I mean, you
Absolutely.
honestly, you look. This is gonna be a part of you. I mean, I know you don't advertise or anything, but um,
Oh, yeah.
it's gonna be a part forever. There's nothing really you can do about it. You just thrive on it, and you just keep it pushing. So we're gonna be watching the Netflix. I'm looking forward to. I really hope that you keep in contact with me, because I'll be advertising and watching you on Netflix. I'm actually excited about that. I want to say again, thank you for coming on my platform, even though um, I asked everything I wanted to ask, and I know that some people may not agree with whatever, and that's fine. If someone wants to come on my platform and speak, my platform is open, honestly. But
Absolutely.
I wanted to have you on here because a lot of times when a woman says something about a man, if it's negative, small or big, that's all we hear. We don't
Hmm.
actually get to hear the man's side or anything, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to do that.
Yeah. And just to end on another note, or not another note, the same thing, but I do apologize again still for doing that to Kia because I'm owning my shit. It happened and I apologize for it. I just wish that it didn't go, that she had to go talk to the castmates and everything while I was not there. Or she could have texted me or went to the side or outside and say, hey, I feel like this. And I think that's where everything really went left. And where I'm like, you know what? It's time for me to just go ahead and end this journey. That's a wrap.
Yes. All right. Well, if you ever want to come on or something else is happening, I look. You said you had receipts, and everybody was in the chat. Like then, I was like, Lord, I was struggling. I was like, what a receipt.
See, that's the thing too. I really, like even on the reunion, I could have pointed out different situations, but I was telling her at the reunion, I was like, "Yo, this is supposed to be between you and I, adults,
Hmm.
about the situation."
Right.
So I don't really like pulling other people in or have to
Yeah.
bring it up. But and I'm not sure if I'm going to do it later or not. But hopefully, this will get the information out there and not
Yes.
showing me as whatever like she tried to paint me as. Because I own my shit. Because I did
Hmm.
the shit. I apologized for it. And then it kept moving after that, which it shouldn't have, I feel. So
Yeah. I mean,
yes,
it's gonna. It's
you actually have some of the receipts from the screenshot. So That's the only part I put out to them. There's other shit, but that's all I put out right there.
Okay, I would not want anything where it was like, and I'm not saying you have it, but like you have some risque, I just like
No,
the
I
receipts.
don't have
I
any.
like,
I don't have
okay,
anything
okay.
like that.
I'm just saying
She,
in general, I like the
she never
receipts
sent
where
anything
it's
like that to me.
like that,
Yeah,
like the receipt that show. I like the receipt we're showing this is what was going on. Then when both parties agree it's what
yeah.
happened, that's a receipt to me. I mean, and that's what kind of happened there. Neither one of y'all denied it, so obviously it was, a true receipt.
So I would say Dakia is a lady.
Mhm.
She is. I just didn't like how she handled the situation. So I'm not
And
going to take
see,
any way
I'm
away
gonna
from
say,
her.
something. I wish that that the way you responded, and I'm not saying you had to respond. I'm just saying this because you were on TV and everybody was watching. Maybe if you weren't on TV, it'd probably be a little different. You'd be just dealing with aunties and somebody at church and somebody at your job, but you're dealing with everybody.
Mhm.
And the way you responded, just that, it would have probably changed the game as far as people. I know you don't care. You shouldn't care. I'm just saying because it come before you so crazy, so bad. I think if you'd responded, yeah, she's a lady, but I didn't like it because you're welcome to your own opinion. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
people would have probably respected it. But I think when you called her out her name, we started dragging her, and she's a woman, just being honest, and
Oh
a black
yeah.
woman. It just really be like, it was just like, I mean, you were just getting towed up out there. I'm just gonna be real. And I
Oh
was
yeah.
like,
Because
stop.
everybody's told to their opinion, and
Yes,
when
yes.
she did that, when she said that part about the physical, very physical, that's what happened. That's how I felt at the time. So it is what it is. Everybody have their own emotions. I have my emotions because that hit me deep. Because I know I'm a gentleman, and it's making me seem like another light. But I'm not gonna take away that she posed and she takes pride in who she is, that she is a lady. It's just
Hmm.
the actions that were taken that I didn't like.
Gotcha. And that's what I really wish you would have responded. Um, with some, I mean, and I know that word, something to that effect, where people, and I only want to say it like for anybody, but for yourself. 'Cause when you apologize to somebody, that really is for you anyway. It's not for everybody else,
It's not for
and
everybody.
it's not. And I think people get that twisted, where it's like, I don't like how she said sorry. I don't like how he said sorry. Well, it's not even for you. So it doesn't matter how it's delivered or how you don't like what it said. Da, 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 that's for that person. And I think a lot of time we get that completely twisted. And at the end of the day, healing has to happen on both parts. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? And it is what it is. I just think healing has happened before. It cannot be just a woman that's going through it. It cannot be just the woman that is just because I'm sure she did. I don't take it from her, but I'm saying I do think it affected you as well, emotionally, mentally, or whatever it was. It affected you some kind of way. And I don't think that part
Every
was looking out
person
there.
has everyone has their own feelings about a
Right,
situation. So, and I'm remorseful that it happened. It's not like I don't give a shit. Yeah, it
right.
shouldn't have happened in front of people or whatever. I should evaluate the situation more. But everyone is entitled to their own feelings. I have feelings about it. She had feelings about it. I know that it was wrong, so I apologize, and I think that's where it should have stopped. But it was drug and then given to other people behind
Hmm.
my back instead of coming to me. So that's my only quarrel with it. Quarrel with it, and then the very physical situation. That's it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something else. You apologize, and I would tell
I
anybody
did.
around me, you've already apologized. There's no need for you to do it again because the more you do it, the more it's gonna seem like it's not real. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't even do it. I wouldn't. You said it's on record. You said
Yeah,
you said
because
it.
like I said, I read all the posts and all that, and it made it seem like that I kept going or did something more after she said stop or
Mhm.
don't do that.
Right,
So that's why I'm just going to clarify. So it's not going to be any more apologies because it is out there. I did it on multiple platforms. I did it at the
right.
reunion. I did it everywhere. So that's a wrap.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't, like I said, it's gonna seem disingenuous anyway if you keep on doing it. So, yeah, we heard the reunion gonna be messy. Is what I heard. That's all I heard. I'm not asking you for no tea. I know how this go. I'm saying I
Yeah,
heard it's gonna be messy. So, Lord have
yeah.
mercy.
That's why I tell people. just wait for the reunion.
Right.
But since I didn't get a platform, since OWN is not gonna let me talk, I was like, you know what? I'll come out through the other platforms. And I think it's fucked up that they're not gonna let me say shit. And I think there are reasons why, but I'm just gonna let that shit go too.
Oh, you don't see
So
it meant for us to do this because I'm not. They're not happy with me either. So this is just perfect.
absolutely.
I mean, they're not happy with me.
Yeah.
I ask every cast member, "What did you hear about me?"
Actually, you know what? I have not heard anything.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't really go into the circle of any of this
Okay.
situation because what
Not
I
from the
really try to
cast. Not
do,
from the cast. Not from the
yeah,
cast. I'm talking about from the ones who get your
no,
interviews.
I haven't heard anything. I haven't had you're my first interview. So I haven't heard anything about you. So I haven't heard anything about anybody because I stay in my lane
Right.
and I have my own personal life that I try to stick to. I don't care about everybody else's life. I
Right.
have
I got
kids. I
you.
have my own career. I
Hmm.
have my own clients that I need to worry about. I have my own business. So I don't give a shit what people be saying. People don't come to me because I'm the type of person. If someone comes to me about something, I was like, go talk to them.
Right.
Why are you gonna come to me? I don't I
100%.
don't I don't entertain it because I'm not gonna let anybody talk bad about my friend. They'd be like, okay, she did this and she did that, blah blah blah. Go talk to her. And I'm gonna tell her that you said this shit. So it is what it is.
Hey, like I say,
And that's why I would say that's why I really fuck with Carmen hard because
good, G.
she stands up for me. If you're a friend, she will be your friend, and I will always be her friend. I would say that because she keeps it real, 100%. She
Yes,
get in
I
my ass.
agree.
She get in my ass about shit sometimes too. I'd be like, yo, I needed that, and I take shit with a grain of salt. I don't get like it's
Right.
personal.
Hmm.
So yeah, she's a dope ass individual. Like real talk.
All right. Well, we're about to shut this down. This was a great exclusive interview. Again, and I love the fact you had a little banter break. I was like, oh, I love it. Got it. I, was a little, so I love it. I love a spicy conversation. I love it
Oh
was
yeah.
different. I love it. It's everything. So my moderator, shout out to my moderators in the chat, have been controlling the chat, have been posting his links throughout the entire live. And I will also have his links in the description. So when the live drops, so you click on my live, you'll see all of his descriptions, his links, or anything. I'm gonna have all of it there. Make sure y'all tune in to me for anything else on YouTube, Facebook group, and Twitter and Twitch. Mr. Eric, is there anything you want to say before I shut this down? Or as my girl, my mentee say, close the door.
I just want to say, anybody have any passions or whatever they have in life that they want to do, make it happen. Don't be
Mm,
afraid of anybody that's going to say anything. The no sayers. There's going to be doors closed in your face. Just keep it going. Just make it happen and just believe in yourself. Don't worry about who's on your side. Do you follow your passion? Go for it. Sit.
wow. What a great way to end another show. Again, thank you guys for joining this exclusive on Kamisha Reviews.